That's good. I stayed in Edwards, I don't know, some 9 years, and hardly a month went by that I didn't fly as high as 26 different types of models of airplanes a month. I mean, it was busy, and you had to really stay with it. Of course, I flew the X-1A out to 2.5 Mach, and I also did a lot of work on French airplanes, all of the family of Dassault airplanes, MD-450, 452, and all of their fighters flew those. And I flew a lot of Jap airplanes, a lot of Russian airplanes, a lot of German airplanes. So it was interesting. I ended up, finally at Edwards. I spent 9 years and 3 months out there flying as high as 50 hours a month in 20-some different types of airplanes over a month. And you had to be careful. But I stayed on top of the system because I understood it. And I enjoyed my stay out there. And I finally retired from the Air Force in 1975 because the law they allow is 35 years, 35 years of duty, then you got to retire. And I retired as a Brigadier General. And Edwards came to me the day I retired in February '54 and said, "Would you serve as a consultant test pilot at Edwards for $1 a year?" And I said, "Do I have to buy the fuel?" And they said, no. So what they did, they established this goddamn position, pardon the expression, for me to serve as a consultant test pilot for $1 a year. And I stayed there for the next 8 years. I flew all the research F-15s, F-16s, F-18s, and all the different aircraft. And I was very, very lucky. I bailed out 3 times. One of the most serious ones were when I was coming out of the astronaut school. See, in 1960 to 66, the Air Force had responsibility for space. NASA wasn't involved in space. The Air Force had the responsibility. We had the astronaut school, and I was coming out. We're training guys, and guys that went through the school, 26 of them went into space as NASA astronauts because in 1965, the administration said, if we keep the military out of space, maybe the Russians will develop space weapon systems. That's a stupid analogy, but that seems to be the way the government's run. And what they did in 1965, wiped out the Air Force out of space and turned it over to NASA. And if NASA had only, stuck to unmanned space exploration, look what they did on Mars without men. Then they should have stuck to something like that, and they wouldn't have the bureaucratic mess that they have today in the shuttle system. And so we've never. I left Edwards in '65 when they closed down the school and went back to Vietnam. Flew combat, flew 126 missions in F-4, B-57s, F-102s, F-400s, and we had 16 F-100s on 5-minute alert on Taiwan and Tainan Air Base with nuke weapons targeted in China to keep them out of Vietnam. Because what they did in the Korean War was really devastating to the American military. And we kept them out by having those airplanes. And they would have gone. We could have wiped out every damn city in China. And they would have gone very down. So that's we sat there and that was it. So I finally wound down my last 2 years in the Air Force. I was director of safety, in charge of flying safety, space safety, ground safety, and enjoyed it very much. And then I wound up my 35 years. And like I said, Edwards came to me. He said, "Would you serve as consultant test pilot for $1 a year?" And like I said, got to buy a fuel. So that's what I've been doing. Today I can still work. I go down to Edwards, talk to the test pilot school students, check into the Joint Strike Fighter, F-35, work over. It's really, we've gotten ourselves into a real bind. Like we brought out the damn F-22 and paid $226 million for one. That's stupid, you know. Air Force doesn't watch its bank account. Goddamn companies fleece the Air Force. They're not watching. And that's coming, just like the Joint Strike Fighter, the J-35. That airplane looks to me like the man's going to cost $500 billion, and it's just unfortunate, but that's the way it goes. And you just, you know, keep your mouth shut and watch and do what you can. So that's just the way it is. And you see all these airplanes here, you know, I've been fortunate enough to fly just about every one of them, including the Airbus 380. I flew a 4-hour flight over Toulouse. Now, what a keen airplane. And people ask you, how can you, a fighter pilot, crawl in a big airplane and fly? Well, hell, you just fly the cockpit and the rest of the airplane follows you. You're not bad at all. Yeah, you weren't good. Now, Victoria is my wife. How many years? 8 years. Gee, I thought it was going 4 or 5, but she's got her pilot's license. She tells me how to fly. She uses checklist, pilot's license.